Hey, this is Ben Solomon, and welcome to this episode of the Techno Leadership Show. In this episode, we are going to be walking through what a day in the life of a technology or engineering manager can look like. So, as with any day in the life, it's a typical day in the life, but it doesn't mean every day is going to be exactly like this. So, it's just to give you an idea of what it can be like when you're in a similar role. And there's obviously role specific things and your industry specific things and company specific things that might change some of those aspects, but just a overview, something to give people an idea of what a day can look like. So generally you try to get into work between 7:45 and 8 o'clock in the morning generally, and being in that sort of role, you do a status check with your team to figure out if everything is fine. And you'd also have a start of the day checklist of sort that you keep for yourself that you do. In my case, I was responsible for everything IT, and which meant I would touch base with my team, infrastructure engineer, who's also a network engineer, and a system engineer, help desk staff, and hardware staff. And then we had digital coaches who helped users with their digital needs while also being part of the staff, which was a fairly big team. But considering we were servicing close to 1,800 users and about 2,200 devices overall, which is a fairly big environment, fairly big team, fairly big user base that we had to support, and kind of a mix of technologies and all that sort of thing, which was interesting in and of itself. So started the day checks around internet, wireless, servers being up, network performance, all of those sort of basic things. And then if there was anything that needed to be addressed, and if there was something that was going to affect the productivity of staff, I would then send out an email to key executive staff and also go and have a quick chat with the director of ICT, who's the equivalent of a CIO, and give them a full understanding of where things are at, what is going to be affected, and what the potential resolution time is, and if there's any workarounds that can be worked with. And then based on that, I would then send email to everyone who would be affected by those issues so that they can work with the workarounds till the issue is resolved. And in case of cloud platforms like Microsoft 365 and things like that, a lot of things are out of our hands. Obviously, we can still contact Microsoft support and get things looked at, but there is a propagation delay and all of that affects overall end results. So giving them status report with the full expectation management side of things helps a lot, and helps you be sane and helps your team to be able to do their day-to-day job without being swamped. Then beyond that, I'd look at high-level jobs that need to be escalated. Sometimes I might even push jobs back down to help the staff so that they can learn the skills required from our senior technology professionals on the team. So that's the infrastructure engineer, network engineer, systems engineer. So the help desk staff, I'll push it back to them so that they can go to these senior level staff and learn from them, or come to me so that I can coach them and walk them through scenarios and also help them do root cause analysis and find solutions. So I love the coaching part of things, which so I use that when and where possible. And I also always try to empower my staff so that they could stand on their 2 feet and didn't have to always depend on escalations to push jobs out. And workload management is an important part of things, because you want to make sure that projects that you have in the pipeline are getting the progress and movement that you need. At the same time, you need to ensure that your staff don't get burnt out and the major big rocks, so to speak, get tackled. So that's on you as a technology manager, whether it's an IT operations manager, IT manager, and those sort of management level roles. And then the other thing we'd have is stand-up meetings. So stand-up meetings, in this case, I'd have one with my core technology team, and that's in the morning at about 9 a.m. Have a quick 5 to 10 minute discussion around what kind of issues they've seen from 8 a.m. And what resolutions have been put into place, what are the commonalities and how we can tackle them, and then obviously looking at their workload for the day and setting targets for themselves. And once that's done, if anyone's blocked with any of the jobs that they have in hand, I would either see if I can step in to support them, or if one of my senior technical resources, technical staff can step in and help one of them with it. So once we've done this, it's kind of set the day for us. We know what each of us are working on. There's transparency, there's an understanding of, what's going on, and based on each of our availabilities, we might support each other in certain roles. There are times when, even as an IT manager, and even when I was working as a director of IT, I spent some hours every week on the front desk so that I knew what exactly was going on. I had a finger in the pulse, so to speak, of everything. Not in the micromanaging thing, but as a being part of the team, we all work together, and every staff member in my team knows that I wouldn't ask them to do something that I couldn't do myself, or that I wouldn't ask myself to do. So that's the kind of thing which, in their eyes, create a lot of respect, which was something that I didn't think of at that stage. I was just, trying to support them, be part of the team, while also doing my part to understand where everything was at, so that we could optimize the overall big picture in things. So that's an important thing. If you can do it, I would suggest that as a, even a couple of hours a week or a couple of hours a fortnight, even just as a finger in the pulse sort of thing. And then there are days when you spend, I have a tendency to sort of have a few things to work on what's a personal Kanban board. I might actually do a video at some stage on personal Kanban boards. You can see one behind me, which is one of the ones that I've got. So it kind of works with post-it notes and with various projects or things that I need to work on. And there's to-dos, what I'm going to be doing today, work in progress and done sort of thing. So for my own personal productivity, it's a fantastic system. I have a few time-boxed, scheduled time boxes every day. One for admin-related work, which would be like putting in purchase orders, doing, the admin-y kind of stuff. But then also a couple of time boxes for strategic work and project work, depending on what's on my plate in a given week. And so during those strategic blocks, I could be working on things like business cases. I could be working on budgets. I could be working on proposals for funding for projects, working on discussions with vendors on various things, and also looking at roadmaps and things like that for long-term planning and support. When I'm doing project work, again, there are times when I'll have to liaise with vendors and vendor support personnel to get the projects done. I'll have to work with internal teams, external teams to get our projects completed. There's service level management things that gets done. There's meetings with key stakeholders, which have meeting time blocks where I try to keep that unless there's an emergency meeting. Most of the times I keep it in those meeting blocks. But I also tend to have informal meetings with my staff outside of the stand-up, where we get to connect on a more personal level, find out how they are going in their life, in their families, all those sort of things. And, just be able to connect on a human level and get to know everyone in the team so that we were one cohesive unit, and we knew each other, where we were at. And depending on the stuff that was going on in each other's life, we could support one another as well, because we did spend a significant portion of our life at work, which is 8 to 10 hours a day. So with that understanding in mind that we all had lives outside of work, that we supported each other overall in that. So yeah, then I would do work on documentation, client communication with issues that might have come up, things that they might have raised with me that was outside of support work, things that might need bigger projects. So I might go and sit with them, talk to them, find out what their requirements are, almost doing a requirement analysis, business analysis style thing, and try to understand their needs, and then look at the bigger picture and try to connect the business needs and the specific department or users needs in the whole picture and find a good solution for them. And there's obviously lunch in between somewhere, sometimes at my desk. Not proud of that part, but it is what it is. But when possible, I did go into the staff room and have lunch with other staff so that we could connect with staff members outside of the technology and engineering departments. And I also encouraged my staff, my whole team, to do that so that they could also build relationships with other users. And that's a very important thing when it comes to pressure time. Having those relationships is very, very useful. And I would suggest that to anyone who is in this sort of position to be doing that. And then there's one-on-ones with team members, which are more formal. Usually try to do one every quarter with each of my team members so that we can review where they're at, where they want to go, and how they're on track to that goal that they want to hit in their career. And there have been times when people have wanted to progress, which meant they'd have to leave the organization. And knowing that I would support them with resources and opportunities to get the skills that they needed to then go on to the next level that they were looking to go to. And that's, again, part of a manager, leader's role, to support your staff to achieve their best and highest potential. And I enjoyed doing that. And yeah, I enjoyed the coaching part of it, having the one-on-ones and even informal one-on-ones on a regular basis, almost daily basis sometimes. A few times a week, we just have this banter, talk, and it just turns into sometimes coaching sessions where I support them, help them figure out the issues that they're dealing with, whether in their career or on a day-to-day basis with work, and help them unblock those things and be more effective in their work and be more effective in their life, so that at the end of the day they can enjoy life when they're outside of work, and then they can actually find work fulfilling and do their best work while they're at work as well. So that's kind of the day in the life. So basically get in at between 7:45 and 8 for an 8 a.m. start, and then go through the morning schedule up about stand up in the morning at 9 o'clock, and then we'd have blocks based on strategy work, project work, meetings, and all those sort of things. Have weekly meetings with my whole team, and one-on-ones usually on a quarterly basis to see where they're at. But they all had the freedom to call in one-on-one with me if they needed at any time. I gave them that opportunity and freedom. There's no such thing as, oh, Ben's not available for anything. I was there for them, to support them, to help them do the best work that they could do, and actually enjoy the process of doing that as well. And yeah, so that's basically that. And lunch, depending on the team's availability, we worked with each other so that there was at least 2 people in the department there to support users if they came out. We rostered each other on support services to support frontline support and staff, and which meant from about 11:30 p.m. a.m. 11:30 a.m. to about 1:30 a.m. we would each one person would go out for lunch and come back every 30 or so minutes, and it was quite well organized between us. We trusted each other, we knew what each other was doing, and supported each other the best we could. And then most of my team members finished at about 4 p.m. and it's usually senior staff stayed around till 4:30 or 5 p.m. And I would leave between 4:30 and 5:30 depending on workload and things that were on my plate and projects that I was working on. And then there was the commute home, family life, all of that. But because of the fact that I enjoyed doing what I did, I also did study preparation and research and all that after hours testing, which meant I'd spend another hour or so at home doing all that every day and on the weekends sometimes, and and do some work from home as well to get some things done that I can do after hours that don't interrupt users during the day. And so those sort of things, maintenance and all that sort of work. So hopefully you get a feel for what a day in the life of a technology manager can look like. Yes, it's not the average standard 40 hours a week sort of thing. 40 hours is kind of the minimum that it takes in that sort of role, unless you're in an organization that can afford to have a really big team and you get into management and that is all you do, and you don't have the 20 or 40 or whatever percentage of technical work, then yes, in some organizations you have to do a part of the technical work plus also do 100% of the management's work. So it does make it a bit more challenging, but it's a learning experience. You enjoy it. It's part of life. And as long as you're passionate about it, you enjoy it, and you care for the team that you have, and you support each other, and you're working cohesively towards a vision, you'll enjoy it and you'll achieve greatness there. So hopefully that's helped you get a feel for what a day in the life of a technology or engineering manager can look like. And if you've liked this episode and would like to continue to hear more similar content, please do subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video and the content, please hit the like button as well. That helps me and the channel a lot. And if you have any questions and if you'd like some topic to be covered, please do let me know by leaving a comment below the video or on the blog, which is at technoleadership.org, and so that I can help you out with that. So I wish you all the best in your journey as a technology professional or a technology manager leader. I look forward to talking to you in a future episode. Have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon. Bye.